Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started painting this fall abstract scarf. We have our colors that you've chosen. We're going to use a swatch card so that you can clearly see what colors you're working with because they're very dark. Our scarf itself is folded, and we're going to keep it folded. It's been pre-treated so it's damp. And we use a silk sumi brush and a sponge brush, depending on what you feel more comfortable with. Some clean water, some paper towels, and we also have some gloves to keep your hands from getting dirty. So you're going to go ahead and put those gloves on, and we'll start the painting. Now you're going to want to stick to, I have a lot of colors out here because I'm going to be painting 4 scarves with different techniques, but you want to stick to probably 3-4 colors maximum, depending on your design. And you can take your first color and either brush. Now in this technique we're going to do a diagonal across the scarf, and it is, because it's folded, it is going to create its own unique pattern once it's opened up. We're going to just add that color very slowly. Now for purposes of this video, so you guys are not spending 20 minutes or so watching a video, we've speeded up the video. And you're going to want to work a little bit slower than this and just apply the color very slowly so that it soaks through instead of spreading out as much. We're going to do this in a couple of layers. We're going to put on a layer and then give it about 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to come back and add to that. So I'm going from a brown to a greenish yellow, and then into another shade of an orange. Switching out to the sponge brush. On some of the smaller areas, when you want to add a smaller amount of color, the sumi brush works well, but they both carry a lot of paint. So I do like to use the sponge brush. Just make sure that you get all the edges well. So we'll call this the diagonal pattern. And a deeper burgundy color on that end. The colors all look a lot darker when they're wet and before they're rinsed and put through a fixative. So don't be alarmed that it's going to be too dark. Second technique that we're going to use is again in that folded position. I'm going to go with a circle in the middle. The green we're using there. Rinse the brush and we switched out to a yellowish green. And I think we're going to use a deep purple on all around the edge. And again, we're going to make sure we get those edges well. And you're going to want to do this pretty slowly just to get the paint and the dye to seep in and go all the way through the outer layer. So after we let it sit for about 15 minutes, it's a good idea to come back. When you come back, take a little break, we'll play some games, have a little wine, and when we come back, you're going to pick up the scarf away from the paper and check the other side to see how well the pattern that you put down in the color is transferring all the way through. And then we're going to go right ahead in and add another color, the same colors on top, just adding another layer, like the second coat of paint. We're going to keep doing that until the entire pattern and all the color is transferred through to the back. So with this, I'm going to go around the outer edges with this purple color. And then I'm going to transition into an orange color. Keep in mind it is an abstract, so if you have any drips or anything, sometimes they're lucky accidents, I like to call them, because they turn out a pretty nice result. It's really very forgiving, the abstract patterns like this. I think after I rinse, I'm gonna switch this out to a green block in the center. And they all start to blend a little bit together, different spots. It's a pretty, it gives it a lot of texture, and it's very pretty. The fall colors are my favorite. For this last one, this is an infinity scarf we're painting. It's a little bit thicker, but I'm just going to go with a completely random. Our pattern is no pattern, so we're just going to get a lot of color. And basically just dabbing that on with the sponge brush. So you can choose any of these patterns that we're using, or come up with some on your own. I've seen you guys come up with some pretty interesting stuff, and they look really great. It's all up to you. Feel creative, experiment, and see how it turns out. I haven't seen anything come out really poorly unless we use way too many colors. It starts to muddy the effect if we end up with way too many colors. So you want to stick to the 3-4 colors tops. And before we take our break, you can go ahead and pat that down a bit. And when we come back, we're going to, again, add another layer. I'm going to continue to do this until the entire scarf, all of the paint and dye has settled and went completely through the opposite side. Once we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and take this plastic container you have, and with the washable marker you have there, just put your initials or your first name on the side so we know whose is whose. And you're going to go ahead and take the scarf, wrap it in the paper that you're painting on, and just roll it up and put it right in that, that plastic container with the lid. We're going to take that then and put it through a steaming process and then a fixative. And when we're finished with that, it's going to sit for about 15 minutes steaming, and then the fixative, we're going to you're going to be able to either let it air dry. We can do a crinkle kind of a look. This is the end result of that. You can see in the corners where they were wet and folded, and what they came out looking like after. Now you can go with a crinkle fold, which I'll show you how to do, like those, or you can iron it or let it just air dry, and basically have a lot of fun with it.